What?
The superintendent who graduated from North Central College and we never remember seeing him in chapel.
Well, you're either going to be interpreted as giving him a jab, or he will have been at chapel, and they're going to go, what kind of memory does she have?
Doesn't matter, Mom. They can't fire you. Did you say anything about being the union organizer?
Did I drop that sentence? Wow. I dropped that one. Oh my God. I didn't say I was a union organizer. I said I was proud.
Oh. You what?
That I was, I forget the word I used, it's in my wastebasket, about the changes that NESPA had brought about.
NESPA?
That's the Secretary's
organization.
For something other than monetary reasons. We took care of some situations that had developed.
Now,
Me?
everyone,
That
do it.
didn't have anything to do with monetary.
Yes, Joe.
I can't
Being
remember
aggressive
anything.
in the 90s.
I don't believe I'll be very functional sitting here with this whole group in front of me.
No, because we want you to put it away.
And I want you to look at me.
Oh, what the heck?
I'll
It's in the bedroom, Joe.
Why is everybody coming in here?
And why is the video camera on?
What are you doing?
Jenny.
What's get caught in the wires, Jenny?
She's going to get Joe's tractor.
Oh.
Jenny.
We all came in here to see her get Joe's tractor.
And she's videotaping it, my hair isn't going. Isn't that what I'd worry about?
Yeah.
It was on the bed, I thought.
What is it?
The tractor. Green
Oh.
tractor. Joe's green tractor.
They got
My sentiments are sad. Good day for a nap.
Oh man, it's a great day for
It's
me.
not for him.
Hey, it's a great day for the car too. Was sort of
Hey,
surrounded-
guess what? Kenneth, out beyond the Intercommunity Cancer Center,
Yeah.
in the next little mall, because I overshot my place today, there's a smoke shop.
Is it called
Oh,
just outside
really?
It's called a smoke shop, and I thought we'd sign
I'm
cigars. But
sorry.
that's not very good for your lungs or your
Well, I
lip.
don't have-
Unless you like
Daddy's
fly to the
looking
hospital.
I always just give them to other people. I don't smoke myself.
That's why
Goes
I'm
around
feeling
on
so
the street
bad.
for
Bad
time.
cigar Saturday.
Yeah.
Where's the bag of trucks, cars?
Did you put it in there?
It might be in there.
No.
You got it? There you go.
I do.
Don't press that button on your truck
Was
anymore.
on.
It's a little chilly.
That's not great.
She's going, what?
That always quiets you down.
Retirements are different than birthdays and anniversaries, so as a family, we kind of had to think of some things that we would encourage you to do during retirement. So it's not a lot of, don't worry, not a lot of sentimental things, and there's no big trip at the end of this
Or heavy
weekend.
lifting.
Yes, there is. We're going back to Kansas City.
On a plane,
On a
with a
plane.
3-year-old. It's a big trip. But they're just a few little tidbits that we'd like to encourage you to think about.
Tidbits, wasn't it?
Tidbits, right. So,
Can you get mine over with?
yeah.
Saw that.
Yeah.
Well, so I wrote down some things for you.
Good.
But then I realized, well, this isn't really, because my memories have nothing to do with your working.
Never saw her work yet.
So and I hadn't written it to read, but it's appropriate for everyone, so I'll just
All right.
read it, okay?
Good.
And then it's for you to have. If I can read it without getting all choked up.
But I can cry for you all. If you don't feel like crying, you don't have
Just
to.
look at
I will
Becky.
cry for you.
And then your eyes take
Maybe Jesse should read it.
No, you gotta read it.
No, see.
Can you hear it, George?
The first time I ever met you, I was anxious and self-conscious, which was only natural since, as it turned out, I was meeting my future mother-in-law. When I walked into your kitchen, you came forward with a smile and greeted me with a warm hug. That hug said so much. It was a wonderful hug.
It's over.
I remember.
I'll get better. That hug said so much about you and about your son. It felt as though you were saying, anyone Billy is so fond of is someone I will be happy to know. Welcome. A few minutes later you said, would you like something to drink, Esther?
Oh, Lordy.
And then gasped in horror that you'd called me by Bill's last girlfriend's name. That's when I knew you and I were going to be good friends. It was exactly the kind of thing I would do. Since that promising beginning, through thick and thin, through sickness and health, you have become such an essential person to me. Here are a few of my memories. And you really are.
I think I see you very well.
You want to switch spots?
If I get any closer, I will cry. Spending the holiday at your house, my first Christmas away from home, feeling a little homesick and out of place. I didn't think I'd get this emotional. You sat next to me and gave me a big hug, told me you knew how I felt, and made me feel like part of the family. After our wedding, my parents were held up at home by all the relatives. You and George stayed at the motel too long, celebrating with Doug and Pat. So Bill and I were the only two people in our wedding reception line at the country club. And we were dumb enough to stand in the hallway with the bathroom doors at our backs. I greeted one man warmly before realizing I'd already seen him come through once before. He was trying to get to the men's room and had to kiss the bride again to get through. As the years have gone by, you've let me stay in the kitchen to help cook those wonderful holiday meals. I was persistent, so you taught me how to help and when to get out of the way. I learned much and we've had fun. Remember the corn pudding that filled the bowl right to the brim before we had added all the ingredients? Do you remember that? We were pouring it into bowls and trying to figure out how to add the right amount of the rest of the ingredients to each bowl.
This comes after we're a good cook.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to master your skill at making a festive meal actually look like a festive meal. The first time I ever saw Anne of Green Gables was with you in that dark, pre-redecorated TV room on the couch whose cushions wouldn't stay put, eating popcorn and not needing one thing more in the whole wide world to be absolutely content. You have related many stories to us about people I don't know, with storylines I can't follow, and finishing with jokes I don't understand. And I love hearing you tell them anyway because you get so tickled.
I thought that was George.
When you were in the hospital for a week, while a person could hardly walk around in your house, the tension and anxiety were so thick. Walking from one room to another, it felt like we were underwater, with our feet slogging through deep, thick mud. As I pushed my way along, I might meet someone slogging in the other direction and exchange a brief glance, but there wasn't much to say. Was Betty going to be okay? That was a real tough time for that. And then on a Thursday or a Friday, Bill and I walked into your hospital room, and you looked at us and our glum, tense faces, and you laughed. And you told us everything was just fine. You were going to be just fine. Now why don't you kids go into the city and have some fun today? And seeing you smiling and laughing, and our feeling for the first time that everything really was going to be okay, well, it felt like the room started glowing. Bill read this paragraph, and he said I got it exactly right. He said it was like the sun started shining, the flowers were blooming, the birds were singing. We did go into the city that day, and we had a wonderful day. On one of our fun family walks to the Arboretum, you talked to my stomach to say hello to baby Jenny.
Stay on a picture.
That's right. Watching you teach 4-year-old Jenny the Hoochie Coochie song. Everyone now, with their hands in their pockets and their pockets in their pants. All the little fishes do the Hoochie Coochie dance. You always...
Thanks, Connie.
Just happy memories. You always have a Kleenex handy. We talk about that all the time! When I was sick in the hospital, and my brand new baby Joseph was home, well, that just wasn't right. You arrived the very day my mom had to go. I'm grateful. Joe wasn't our first baby, thank goodness, so I knew he'd be all right. You and Bill would take good care of him. But who was going to take care of Bill? Well, his mom, of course, physically and emotionally. Before handing the phone to Bill, when I called once from the hospital, you let me know I needed to call more often. Bill was worrying. When I finally was allowed a visit from my little Joseph, you were there, and I got another one of those wonderful hugs, a very happy memory. You and George at our house last Christmas, 1996. All of us laughing hysterically about pretending George was going to sell Mary Magdalene perfume. Marketing slogan, the greatest story ever told, the greatest fragrance ever sold.
You know, they're still laughing.
These are just a few of my memories from the past 15 years of being a part of your life. I love you very much and look forward to our memories to
Sure know how to pick them, Bill. Oh, I like that picture.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a Polaroid. Well, now the rest you'll be glad to teach you. We thought it was about time that you learned how to play golf. Oh, there are your first balls.
One's slightly larger than the other.
Well, I had thought of something to say, but I decided I wouldn't. Well, this is interesting. I'm trying to figure out an order here. When the hands get... Well, those old men play golf, don't they? Even if their fingers are twisted. George, it's been nice knowing you. Yeah, see you at the 19th hole.
The best one. Well, we thought that we have a lot of things for you to do when you're just sitting around. One is for the
Live
sitting around.
situation. What, St. Angelo? You kids remember Grandpa St. Angelo? Always running around with the fly swatter. Oh, great.
Crossword puzzles.
This one has the answers.
You don't have to wait a month. Blowing bubbles.
I swear I have 2 of these in the cupboard. Another one of my little things I forget.
Did it come out, Teen, or not?
I should have stood up.
Did it come out?
Well, it came out, but I should have stood up.
Oh,
Reading material.
It's probably been a year since that camera's been used. That film, too.
When did you get to Elise?
We
This.
had real trouble getting that.
We used to videotape.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
They took something down off the wall today. The same kind of material or worse?
Battery won't run out today.
Put up a sheet of paper.
No,
Pretty awesome.
this is not more organized.
For the little thing that goes with this.
Apple cider
There it
vinegar
is.
and olive oil?
And we thought you could sit around and peel, press, eat bonbons, and cut your toenails. And Mom, if you can't reach over to do it, Steve can help you with that. He's real good at cutting toenails.
Wonderful.
Although you don't like people touching your feet.
We're hoping that special.
Oh, we get along great then.
We're hoping hoping that you'll do more cooking, so we thought we'd get you started with a
Hey,
from scratch program.
did you know that that's one of the things I was going to do when I retire? I'm
Started
going to
with scratch.
figure out how to cook a meal for the family again.
We thought if you start with the Italian herbs, we might end up with real garlic spaghetti at the end.
That was the other thing. I will spend time cooking real sauce.
Oh, good.
We used to do.
Mhm.
Bill's dimples show up.
Then we know that you'll have to do a few jobs around the house. So this is for going in the crawl space.
That's what I needed. It will fit my bra, the strapless bra.
There you go. We figured you had a hammer to start the remodeling job, but we got the paintbrush for you to do that. And then this just looked like a Grandma Betty present. The smallest screwdriver in the world. You probably have 3 of them in your...
This is for glasses.
Yes.
Boy, people ask about that. I keep one in my desk, but it doesn't have little screws.
And then work.
Oh, this is.
Just too much.
We got these on sale.
Then we also thought you might consider a new career. So we brought you the auditions for the Philharmonic in St. Charles, in case you wanted to go into real estate.
I can promise you, I can promise the whole world I will not go into real estate.
Oh. Well, we also know that a long time ago you used to sketch. And so we thought
Oh
sketch.
my goodness.
Maybe you'll just do a little drawing. And write people letters. But we didn't get the computer. We just got you so.
Yeah.
And then we're all hoping you'll come and visit us.
That's Grandpa Gibson.
Yes, yes.
It's in the soup.
Oh man, it's just those corners that I make the wrong turns on.
Well, Tina said you just go out the door and turn
Probably
around.
good. You don't turn.
Generally go out the door and
straight.
turn left. When I should be going right.
And because you're an activist, we don't want anyone to forget that, so we brought you something.
African American hero. I'm going to take that to school.
The activist.
My young friends will love it. The ones I'm leaving in charge.
Goes to Becky.
Oh, this is so we'll be in touch.
Where?
On the computer, when you get the computer.
When we get a room for the computer.
You have to redo the remodeling, so you can do that.
Okay, I just threw one of these away.
Well, don't throw it away. We thrown about 4 away.
Yeah. I should have
I
went
thought
with
Jesse said he could redo something with these, but not this time.
America Online.
Not bad.
No, Joe's gonna let you borrow this until you can do the real thing and go fishing.
Oh!
I
I can borrow it.
For
2 minutes. Woo! Good.
Can you hold them then?
Hold on, Gary. We gotta hold it up by its mouth.
That one doesn't want to come.
Whoa! There it goes.
How many do you get? 3.
About 3.
Okay.
I say borrow because I figured
Yes.
you give it
Yes.
to Joe.
I think that's wonderful.
Wonderful.
It's Grandma's.
This is Grandma Betty's.
But Joe can play with it now.
Do you want to ask her?
Go fishing with my toy? I think you should go
The picture
fishing
actually
with
come out
my
or not?
Joe.
This is exciting. That film has been in there I don't know how long.
Oh! I just had my camera too.
Yes, I could tell.
Isn't it wonderful?
Sounded wonderful.
Sonatina.
It's just hard enough, but not too hard.
And then
And then you have to give us a recital.
do
Yeah.
that.
All the songs you've learned.
I'll do that.
But you don't have to memorize them.
And then thank you for everything you do for us.
We love you. Oh, thank you. Now you've put me in a spot. I have a corsage.
We all.
You can wear that one.
Corsage at school. Do I wear both of them?
Wear that one tomorrow if you want to at school. Tell
And keep it.
Do
keep it
whatever is
fresh.
politically correct.
We don't. Especially when the cashier handed it to me.
Yes, yes.
I will do that, and then I'll take Teenage Orchid, which is still in there.
Is it still fresh?
Yeah.
I can wear one on
This is so
your back.
nice with your
And on
kids.
here.
Well, you're pretty nice.
How many days?
How many days?
30. Did we count 30?
I don't actually know how many
We
days.
did count the weekend. We said 30.
Look it up.
June 30th, right?
Yeah. Go.
We have Monday off, though. Don't have to work next Monday.
No, right.
Monday's a holiday.
You all
They're coming up for the
Memorial Day?
Day.
Mhm.
You're going to be in Arizona. You're marching.
Actually, in college.
Oh, the real Memorial Day. Good.
Everybody gets our anniversary off, huh, team?
All right.
You're marching? And is that what you said he's marching?
No, I was saying he went going down to Arizona to march with the veterans
Oh.
down there. What are you for anybody else?
Except for me.
Well, I would trade somebody else for you. Somebody else would leave me. And
Pull that
I
away
would
from her,
have
Grandma.
you.
Grandma, pull that away from her.
That's it.
That trashy name.
Yeah, trashy.
How do you know what sin is unless you try it? Huh? That's what your grandfather used to say.
Well, I'm really glad that you are letting us celebrate with you and that you're letting the high school celebrate you because there's some people who don't let that happen and I'm glad you're letting it happen. It's good for
An
everybody.
interesting word to say, left. Well, I thought I made you.
Oh, you got invited.
It's so funny because everybody says, no, I'm sure there are people who aren't saying it, but the things they say, I think, why are you saying it? Not that I distrust what they're saying, but I wasn't doing anything to make points.
But that's
And
why.
so it makes it awfully hard for me to think. But I'm glad. I'm just real glad if that's the way it comes. If that's the way I come across.
It's like it's a
that's
wonderful
good.
life. You know?
Well, it is.
Because you don't, but you don't know how you affect other people.
We know how Joe affects other people, though.
Hey, Joe, could you do me a favor? Could you go stand over by Grandma?
That's kids that came in today.
And Jenny?
I didn't know. All these kids from freshmen to seniors coming in with a single carnation and putting it in this big vase. And every one of them had their line down, patting you. Thank you so much for all you've done for student government and to help us. I never saw the kids before, but I began asking their name, what year they were, and they were, as I say, from freshmen to seniors, and tell them that when they graduated, when these kids graduated, I didn't have any idea who they were. They'd been there 4 years and I never knew them. So now I said, this is what needs to be done for the person who sits at this desk. The student government should have all the kids come in one at a time, have a little conversation and get acquainted. Because if you're not of the age where you have kids in high school, you don't know the other kids in the high school. And you lose all that touch. And if you don't go to ball games, you don't know who the kids are that are playing and all this kind of stuff. After all, as I said, that's what school is about, kids. And that's the one thing I don't know.
But you know teachers, you know how to help their leader do the kinds of things he wants to do. He's going to have, next year's not going to.
Well, we did interview one girl, but she came from out of the district, and she told me, they're going to offer me a salary that I may not be able to turn down. And I was so comfortable with her, and she was attractive, she was upbeat. I don't know if I told you, she had a daughter who, as a high school student, had died of cancer. And 2 weeks ago, her father had died of cancer. And there was not any gloom about either of these situations. She was handling it so well. She was interested in what was going on and talked to other people around. And you could just tell. She knew what the score was. And she was a nice person. And she's been subbing in a superintendent's office in another district around here. And Bruce liked her better than me. Don't say this from the girl in the district. But whether he'll get her or not, I don't know. But that made me feel good. And now if the girl from the district is the one that gets it, I know he won't have to worry about her knowing names and all that, but I will have to worry about her keeping her mouth shut.
Who makes the decision, Bruce, ultimately?
He will recommend.
And I'll go with it.
But he can't.
Is she crying? I can't get
Oh, her, she's holding back already.
Where is she?
We need your family at the table.
You had that on it.
Did you?
Okay, let's get
We don't.
Is there another sister? That's Becky.
You know,
Thank
she
you.
is just
So when you know
incredible
things going.
at taking somebody who is really upset and frustrated because they didn't get something they wanted by yesterday, and getting them calmed down and getting to be able to deal with the reality of the situation. But I guess most importantly, and the thing that I've noticed about Betty down through the years, and the first time I saw her do this, I couldn't believe that I saw it. It was about, I don't know, 5:15, 5:30, might have been 5:45, and some student walks into the office and says, I left my book, I think, down in the music office. How do I get down there? And the next thing I know, Betty's down there and she's got her key and she's getting them through that maze of locked doors to get them down to the other extreme end of the building to let them in to find out, to find their purse or their book or something that they forgot so that they could study for that test the next day. So, Betty, first of all, I just want to thank you for keeping me on track for all this time. I certainly thank you for that, and you've not only done that, but you've given a total commitment to this entire school, because you really do represent the fabric of what Naperville North High School is really all about, and we all thank you for that. We've got a few little gifts here that various people whose lives that you have touched over the years have put together for you. First of all, as many of you know, I'm involved in Kiwanis. And I've been president of Kiwanis, I don't know, 3 times or so, and I've been secretary. I lost count how many times I've been secretary. And so when I'm president or I'm secretary, guess who really is president or secretary? So Bob Janes is here. Bob is a member of the Naperville Daybreak Club. Now it's still officially the Daybreak Club, but it's going to be the Noon Club again. But Bob's got a little presentation for you. Bob Janes. While Bob's walking up here, you don't know Bob Janes, but you remember a lady that used to work up in our Upper Resource Center by the name of Joanne Janes, who is back today? Well, this is Joanne's husband. So I'll introduce this person as Joanne's husband.
I accept that. Betty, you look like... No? Either side. We are grateful to Betty for the many favors that she has done for our Kiwanis Club. We have, first of all, a certificate from the Kiwanis Club of Naperville Noon, for the time being anyway, expresses our deep gratitude to our honorary member, Betty San Angelo. She is an honorary Kiwanis. Unofficial secretary, treasurer, president or any other office held officially by her colleague at North High School, who has been a long-time member of Kiwanis. And we wish you peace as you embark on a well-deserved retirement. We in Kiwanis will miss you, Betty.
She knows what's important and what's not. Okay, next, another group of people a couple of groups of people that Betty works with a lot over the years have been our Booster Club and our Home and School. And, you know, she's really a part of those organizations also. And they have gotten together, and I think this is really special that both the Booster Club and the Home and School organization would get together and do something as one to kind of complement each other for Betty St. Angelo. So I want to introduce Marcia Shield and Susan Hansen, the presidents of each of those organizations.
Hi, I'm Marcia Shield, president of the Home and School Association. And I think all of us realize there are many people who touch our lives, but there are very few people who actually weave their way into our hearts. And Betty is one of those people. This afternoon, we do want to honor Betty, and I'm going to let Susan say a few words on behalf of the Booster Club.
I also want to say good words for Betty. I've known her for several years, many years actually, and we are all going to miss you here at Naperville North. You always have a warm smile and a pleasant way about you. So we wish you the best from Booster Club.
And again, Betty, if you'd come on up. This is a gift on behalf of both Home and School Association and the Booster Club with our warmest wishes and our fondest regards.
These two groups are special groups too. And though I don't know the students, I got to know a lot of parents. They're great. This much.
That's, I believe, the first picture that we have. What that is a print of Naperville North High School. Our Booster Club and our Home and School organization commissioned this to be done, especially for her. I believe there are going to be more of them. If it's a print, I know there's going to be more of them. But this is the original, so this is very special. We have some more presents here, Betty. You might as well come on back up here again. We've got more goodies.
You know what? He gave me a present today, too. A dictation.
First of all, a card from the staff. And I believe many of you have had an opportunity to sign that, but not every. If you haven't, we'll have it out, I guess, the next few days out there on the counter, and you can put your name on it. I know I'm one person who hasn't got my name on it yet. So we'll get that taken care of. But there are a few people that have signed it, like probably 150 or so.
It says retirement is the time time when you can look back over your career with satisfaction and say, I've done well. It's also a time when you can look to the future with anticipation and say, to heck with Monday, I'm sleeping in. Yay.
Yes. More goodies.
I don't know when everybody had time to do all this.
It was a committee.
Another committee.
How long was it going to take? Now what this is, Betty, this is a scrapbook, and one of the things that we have given people an opportunity to do, you'll see a basket there with some cards in it, and people will probably continue to bring you some cards. There's already some in there. And these are just little remembrances from various people around the district. And we want to allow you to collect those in a scrapbook, and then you will have that to keep as a remembrance of all of us back here in Naperville. So that will be more meaningful as you go along. So, the scrapbook.
The first page is from my mother's diary. My sister sent her some stuff. It's wonderful. Thank you. And I will just keep filling it up.
You know, I don't know how many of you, if you have all had an opportunity to sign in at this book up here or not, but there's a picture on the table, and that's a picture of Betty and George on their wedding day. And Betty has a hat on, and she has gloves on, and she has a corsage, and she has pearls around her neck, and those are all right here on the table right now, right down to the corsage. So, thank you. Well, I know Tina was the one that was really, Tina and George really are probably the ones behind us. I know Tina's the one that got them for us. So, one more, two more.
And it was only 47 years ago. You know, when you get as old as I am, you even call the administrators boys by their
They're not done yet, Betty, so.
I'm just not used to being in front of people and getting all this hard.
Betty is usually the giver, so I think this is very appropriate that we get to be the givers today. Good night, David. We've got one more to go now. In case you're wondering what this is, now these are replicas of something that hasn't even gone on sale yet, but one of the things that has been very close to Betty is books and music, and you're surrounded by books today. The story is that Betty met George in a library in the stacks of a library. Is there any truth to that, George? Your kids told us about this. Okay.
They weren't there.
But what this is this is going to be an evening of entertainment at the Chicago Symphony. And it's a program that is going to be taking place on October the 12th. And as, and as I understand it, these are box seats, the best in the house. Yes. And the program that night is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and Stravinsky's Symphony of Songs. And one of the people that will be performing that evening is one of our staff members. I hope is Jim around here yet? Where'd he go? He helped get, yeah. Jim Yarborough. Jim Yarborough, as many of you know, still sings with the Chicago Symphony, and so he's going to be there. So you don't want to lose this stuff, because this is what you have to pay for the tickets with. And there should be enough there also to take a limo downtown. And there should also be enough to have George take you out to one of Chicago's finest restaurants and have a night on the town. So enjoy.
By Saturday night, I still didn't know what was going to happen. And I couldn't tell. So I put some things down in writing. And when you get bored, feel free to leave. But I'll notice it here. Anyway, a big thanks to all of you. And I'm here because a lot of people took a chance on me. When I was in high school, they let me work in the vice principal's office. And I finally made it to the principal's office. And I don't know how many of you knew Walt Kirsch, but he hired me even when he was told that he should be careful because I was an activist. And that was in the 60s. John Gillen asked me to come over and work here with him when his secretary left. And Dee Coleman asked me to apply for the principal secretary job when his secretary left. That's why I'm here. And then Bruce came, and he inherited me. Now, when he came, he gave me a little cassette of what his previous secretary had done up at Evanston Township High School. Every year she put something together in music that related all the things that had happened all year. And I thought, well, I'll never make that one. But he's put up with me. When he came in, I'd never seen him. He'd been hired during the summer. I didn't know who he was, except I had been very impressed by his vita. He'd grown up in East St. Louis. He had taught at Evanston Township High School, and he's got a real PhD from Northwestern University. Boy, put all that together, and this guy's going to be something. And when he came in the office, he came in just like he always does. And I knew he was going to take charge. And he did. And I was glad because I didn't know a thing that was going on. And then a few days later, I found out he was a White Sox fan. Only because he'd listened to Harry Carey all his life, and Harry was announcing the Sox at that time. But since then, we've worked together and we've shared sad, bad, and good moments. Always with my knowing that I could trust his judgment. He's a good man, and his goal has always been to make NNHS the best comprehensive high school it could be. In my thanks, I can't ignore the district administration and the Board of Education, who have both been a support and a prod. Next week, another survey. The girls over at the Administrative Center have bailed me out more than once, and I want them to know how much I appreciate that. And there's all the other people around there, the people at the stadium who do things at the last minute, like getting you a truck when you forgot to order it for the Husky Holler, and bring paper over and smile at your mistakes, and those things are so special. And so they all need to know that I've been aware and I appreciate it. And the kids, the girls I've worked with right here in this building, they have been so gracious toward me and my idiosyncrasies.
They have been very, very patient with me, and I love them all much. And I'll miss you, but not enough to come back. And I can't forget the staff that takes care of our buildings and grounds. Those guys and gals have been just so special to me during the years. I've enjoyed taking coffee cake down to them, but I've enjoyed talking to them in the halls and getting their smiles. And when one of the fellows came up to my desk the other day with tears in his eyes, and he said, "We're going to miss you." You know, that's really special. That's special. And they've been friends the whole time, and they will keep on being my friends, and I appreciate that. And I've talked about the things that they've done, the stuff that they've had to go through with leaking roofs and all the rest. But I think the real thing that was funny this year was to watch Art take those ducks from that garden and the ducklings and walk them down the corridor and then out this corridor and then all the way down to Ogden Avenue out so that they could get to Crest Creek. And they have a video of it, and if you haven't seen it, you really want to, because it is dear. But of course, the thing that makes the school go beyond the secretaries are the teachers. And we all know that our kids here have been challenged by opportunities. And we all know that some of them have responded to those challenges in ways that create discipline problems. But they are more than offset, however, by the students who have taken up the challenges offered by creative, constant, caring, and qualified teachers. And they have made and are making a successful run for their goals. I do appreciate the challenges that all of you teachers face every day. I trust you know that. One day I spent in Holly Lee's classroom a long time ago talking about a short trip to Moscow. After facing 5 classes, each one a different makeup, knowing that I was missing the mark with the kids, I thought every person should have a chance to experience this kind of pressure. I was through, but Holly and every other teacher faces the next day and the next day and the next day. And that teacher must be stimulating, knowledgeable, challenging, exciting, and fun in order to capture the kids' attention and to inspire them to ask questions and look for answers on their own and to continue to be filled with wondering the rest of their lives. Not an easy assignment by any means. We won't talk about the distractions that interfere with this ambitious undertaking, though. And supporting our teachers, staff, and students in so many, many ways are our wonderful home and school, the Boosters Club, the Friends of Music, parent networking, etc., 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 and all of the parents who send their children to us each day, trusting and believing that we know it is the children who are most important in this whole educational operation. And Bruce, do you remember that in-wall dictation equipment that we inherited? We never did figure out how to use it. I keep wondering if it's still out there somewhere. And there used to be time for coffee breaks in the summer. We'd all get together with a coffee cake and go sit in the room and have fun. And there were scrapbooks. The Sun only came out 2 days a week, and we didn't have all these wonderful sporting events where we were, you know, writing the headlines. I used to be able to do that. Then I had somebody come in and help. And then it got too much. And so I have a bunch of that stuff under my counter if anybody wants to do anything with it. And there was always the husky holler who's had to go to press at a time when I wanted to do something else and all that. But the holler's still going on. Someone else is doing it. And so it goes. More than many, many things to remember. But there's a phrase that goes, there's a lot of water over the dam. For Bruce and I, it's been a lot of paper passed back and forth across the desk. Damn. Now, some people have asked me if I were going to write a book. And one of the most important pieces of equipment that a secretary has on her desk is a phone. Well,
I've had a title for a book for a long time. It's called Dial 9 to Get Out. It was my intention to jot down some of the overheard conversations from a joyful, "Oh, really? It's positive?" to, "You know we can't possibly make that newspaper or that yearbook deadline." To, "Mom, can you come and get me now? Practice is over." And a whole bunch of other stuff. Then they want to know, what am I going to do on retirement? Well, I might get the drapery rods in the living room repaired. They've only been broken for 3 years. Now I think I can put away the winter clothes. And if you read Genevieve, that goes back a while. Genevieve Towsley. Yeah. Phoebe's article in the paper, the last comment was that Betty felt her patience was getting thin. So I decided that maybe what I should do was fatten up my patience while I'm on vacation. Vacation? Wow. Well, Georgie said I could take 1 or 2 trips with him. I couldn't go out with him all the time. It would cost too much. But I'm going to visit the kids, and, I just might go up the street and have a cup of coffee with Ginny and Bob McCabe after I've read the newspaper in the morning. But Bruce, do you remember those guys named Huntley and Brinkley? Some of you remember them. Well, the time has come. I want to thank everybody for everything, for giving me an opportunity to be helpful. Not only to you, but to those who came by my desk and to those who called 420-6484. Thanks for trusting me, Bruce. Good night, David. Encouraged me to go to work. This is our granddaughter, Jenny. Jenny's 9, going on 10. And she's from Kansas City. And this is her mother, Connie, who is married to our son, Bill. And next to Connie is Tina, who grew up in Naperville. Oh dear, some of the teachers here had her in school. But we won't say which ones. Bill said he had had some of these teachers also, and they all look younger than he does. Glenn Schneider had all 3 of our kids, and every year he had to go through our family history. And it never changed, history's history, unless you put a different interpretation on it. Okay, Tina, and that handsome man next to Tina is George. And I guess that's Becky next to George, and her husband Ken McCabe, and their son Jesse, who is 21 and down at the University of Illinois. And I think you made it. And Bill, our son, who looks younger than his teachers. I mean older. and Ken and Becky's son Michael, who is 13.
Very good.
And I believe that's the end of it. Oh, Steve, Steve's over there with the red light, taking pictures. He is married to Tina, and both Tina and Steve graduated from Central High School, too. So did Bill. Becky almost did. She was adventuresome and went someplace else for her final year. And so that's been an interesting story, too. And Joe, where is he? He's around. That little thing that you see running around is the grandson, Joe. So I have 3 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. Oh, yeah, George does, too. He's gone so much I keep saying I. But then I know some of you others have husbands who go away a lot, too. So anyway, I want to thank you all very, very much. It's good to see some of you that I haven't seen for a long time. Those of you who are on the staff,
I'll be here until the 30th of June if you need anything. Don't hesitate to call. And I love you all. And there was one other thing that, as I know, the one other thing that I really wanted to say, and I didn't write it down anywhere, was that just keep on loving one another and doing what you're supposed to be doing, helping our kids. Thanks.
Sorry, watch the cord.
Now help yourself to the food again.
There's plenty of food left, and I think the little combo is going to come back and play some more music, so let's take advantage of this opportunity.
There we go.
Can you hold this, please? Thank you.
Did you see this? These will go before I get.
Okay, we need you to type on the type on the phone. Talk on the phone a little bit, Betty. A little typing.
Are you got it running? Nobody's there. Just a minute.
She's scooting over. This is a typical day at work.
What? Have a piece of candy as your.
And Betty, these flowers
Oh.
came with this card.
Yes, I need to go get this box. Okay, you want this to go home, don't you?
We looked all
Did you
around.
hurt your
Yeah, put it
hand?
down right
That
here.
is so bad. That is such a bad
Well,
size.
Betty.
Standing there smiling so pleasantly like this in the bridegroom are waiting for him to say, "You're very good."
What?
Whatever the words were at the end of the ceremony, when you forget to pronounce, I pronounce you man and wife.
Who is this from?
They have joined together in holy blood.
Holy what? Nuts around here for the week, or?
Well, Betty, what do you want to take?
Oh, Bruce,
Sam.
Carol, and one of the ladies. Yeah.
Phil, stay here.
Those, huh?
Send you this.